Is Lyft insurance good enough or not? Do you need extra auto insurance? In this video, I'm really going to break down the Lyft insurance model. I highly suggest watching this entire video. I very rarely say that, but insurance is extremely important, especially when you involve ride sharing. Now, first off, when it comes to Lyft insurance, it depends actually what part of the process you're in when it comes to driving. As you can see here, we have, first off, kind of period 0, if I call it that, and that is the app is off. So you're not driving for Lyft or anything, you're just driving normally. Now keep in mind, this, like say, could be right before you start driving. It could also be when you stop driving. So like say you turn the app off, you're like, all right, now I'm gonna drive home. This is period 0. Now here is when you turn the app on, right? So the app is now on, you're driving around, you're waiting to get a ride. You have period 1 auto liability. And as you can see here, we have a few different terms, 50K per person for bodily injury, 100K per accident in terms of bodily injury, and 25K per accident in terms of property damage. I'm scraping the surface here. I'm going to get into this a little bit later in the video. But as you can imagine, every situation is very different. This could also change time to time. And making things even more tricky, this could change state to state. Now, going down here in terms of period 2 and period 3, these are when you accept a ride and somebody's in your car. And as you can see here, we have a few more different fine prints of what Lyft covers in terms of their insurance. Now, going to Lyft's site, as you can see, insurance coverage while driving with Lyft, kind of the same thing where depending on the exact stage that you're in, coverage when the app is off, like I said before in period 0, coverage when the app is on, waiting for a ride request, you have these right here, like I just told you. Coverage when the app is on, you're picking up passengers ordering rides. And then we have all these kind of different fine term prints. I'm glossing over this because the main thing is this. The main overarching idea is this. Overall, Lyft does cover you in certain aspects when it does come to their insurance, depending on what stage of the ride you're in, right? So keep that in mind that is good, but I'm going to be honest, it is really not enough. And showing you as well, state to state can be a little bit different. Like if I go to Massachusetts, because I used to drive in Boston, and I go to Know Your Insurance, it just says, Know Your Insurance, review Lyft's coverage here, which brings me back to this page. If I go to California, however, I see this. Effective July 1st, 2015, California enacted this state bill, etc., etc. So as you can see, they actually give you a little more coverage in California, and there's some different terms because of the state rules compared to Massachusetts. Every state is different. With all that being said, there's 3 main points I really want to bring up when it comes to ride-sharing insurance and Lyft insurance, and if it's good or bad. Overall, like I said, Lyft insurance isn't bad, right? It's not a bad idea that now Lyft is saying, hey, we're going to cover you in certain situations, but I'm going to be blunt, it is really not good enough. Number 1, I'm going to suggest make sure you actually do get your own insurance, because even still, like I said, in period 0, let's say you drop somebody off, you turn the app off, you close it out, and you're like, hey, I'm going to drive home, and you get into an accident, you will most likely not be covered by Lyft, which means it comes down to your insurance. And if you've never dealt with the insurance issues that exist, whether you're here in America or somewhere else, it is a nightmare. Make sure you have auto insurance. That is, if anything, the most important thing of this entire video. Number 2, get rideshare insurance. What I mean by this, and I've touched upon this in a few other videos, is if you, let's say, have normal insurance, whatever the insurance company you go through is, make sure you say, hey, just letting you know, I also drive for Lyft, I also drive for Uber, if let's say you decide to drive for both apps. Let them know that the vehicle you are insuring, and yourself, of course, when it comes to the policy, you are going to be a rideshare driver. The reason why is the last thing you want to have happen to you is, let's say you're driving and some situation happens while you're driving for Lyft, or in this case, even Uber, right? Doesn't matter. And you say to the company like, hey, this happened, I was driving, someone is in my car, the Lyft policy doesn't cover me enough, or there's some weird thing going on with the Lyft policy or the Lyft insurance. Your insurance company could go to you and say, hey, sorry, but we didn't know you were driving for Lyft. We didn't know this was the situation. Sorry, we're not going to cover you when it comes to this ride-sharing specific issue. We'll cover you maybe when it comes to your car, maybe any personal injury, any injury on somebody else. But when it comes to, like, say, the passenger in your car, that coverage is not on us. We didn't know you were doing ride sharing. Now, of course, every situation is different. The last thing we're gonna have to do is get into some weird legal battle, have to hire a car accident lawyer, which I've already done a video about as well. The last thing we do is get into that whole kind of legal side of things. But overall, because every situation is different, the best you can do, especially right in the beginning, is just be upfront with your insurance company saying, hey, not only am I getting a policy like a normal driver, but I'm also doing ride sharing. Is there anything else you need to know? Let's say you already do have a policy. Let's say you already have a policy with Geico. Maybe call them up saying, hey, I just want to let you know when it comes to my policy, I'm now starting to do ride sharing. Do I have to tack on anything extra when it comes to my coverage? How limited or complete is my coverage? Is there anything else I need to know? And lastly, the third tip I'm going to give you is to compare auto insurance quotes. As you can imagine, any single time you're buying or shopping around, make sure you get as many different auto insurance quotes as you can. Get the auto insurance quote from one company and another. Figure out which one gives you maybe the most coverage, which one is the cheapest overall. I do want to say this though, when it comes to cheapest, make sure you understand what goes into that, right? Because for two companies, if they gave you the same coverage and they give you the same coverage, one might be naturally cheaper, which is obviously a little bit better for you. But make sure, just because it's cheaper doesn't mean they're kind of giving up a couple different coverages that the other one has. But in general though, remember that you can always shop around. You can determine, wait, okay, I need this and this for my vehicle. Let's say you have an Uber XL or a Lyft XL compared to, let's say, just a sedan, your coverage might be a little bit different because you might have more passengers in your car on average than if you just do normal Uber or Lyft. Every situation is different, like I've said numerous times in this video. That's why the biggest thing is to be super transparent. Go to your insurance company, make sure you get, insurance, like I said, shop around, figure out which one's best for you, and make sure it also has rideshare insurance, and make sure you're ultra transparent about what you need, and make sure they're very transparent about what they have and what they're offering. And now, a bonus tip, and that is to go through Lyft for insurance. Now, I'm not talking about the Lyft insurance like I mentioned earlier in this video when it comes to their own coverages, but I'm talking about the fact that Lyft has now paired with Geico, and now you can get auto insurance through Geico if you go through Lyft. I highly suggest doing this, and this may change over time. Like I said, at the exact time of this video, they're pairing with Geico. They may go through a different company, who knows? But overall, this is a way better option because one, obviously you get bonuses, deals, and discounts when you go through Lyft to get auto insurance with Geico. But Geico understands that not only do you need auto insurance, but you also need ride-sharing insurance, so it is the best of both worlds.